Hi, Algebra 1. I'm here again, and this is a video that is going to be kind of an addendum to 8.6b. As you know, we've been spending some time working on some shortcuts for factoring our quadratics when they have a lead coefficient other than 1. However, as I was doing some of the problems that I have assigned you for homework this week, I noticed that there needs to be some clarification on how we deal with negatives in this particular shortcut method. Now, as I mentioned in my video, I have been teaching divide and slide for a very long time and feel very comfortable with that one. The second shortcut method that I taught you with the table with the greatest common factor is relatively new, and I just got so excited about another option for some of you, another way to teach a shortcut method here that I see that the way that I explained it in the video needs a little bit of tweaking. So here's one of the problems that brings up this point. Now, if you remember, you just watched the video on this method. Step 1 is to use our x form as normal. A times c goes in my ceiling. My b goes in my basement, just like always. And then if I solve it, I get -12 and -1 in my sides. Now I just want to stop here for a second and point out something that I taught you last week. Another shortcut way just to think through signs is that if this second sign or operation is addition, it means both of my binomials will have the same operation. And the first sign will tell me what operation that is. So I actually know before I go into this shortcut method that I should have subtraction in both of my binomials. Okay, well, let's proceed with this method, and you can see where I need to change my thinking a little bit to make sure my answers are correct. As we learned, my entire first term goes here, and my c goes here. And then the two numbers that I got in the sides of my x form go here, and they include a variable with it. Now, according to this method, I would take out the greatest common factor. In this top row, it would be x, and in this bottom row, it would be 2. And then I would look vertically, and then I would get 6x here and 1 here. Now, if I were to write these out the way they are right now, because remember in our video I said if both of the numbers or the terms are negative, then I would pull that negative out as my common factor. However, notice that this method, I end up with 2 addition or 2 positives in my binomial. I know that's not the case, that is incorrect. And so what I learned as I was doing some of these problems that we need to be a little bit more specific. This square and this square will determine the sign of the greatest common factor that I pull out. So when I look at this row going horizontally, if my first number is negative, I need to pull out a negative. Same if I'm looking at this column. This first number is negative, so I need to pull out a negative. If I would have FOILed my 2 binomials here, I would not have ended up here. In fact, you can see 6x squared, that works, it was unaffected. 12x plus 1x, I would have had plus 13x. So you see that my signs do matter. However, I should have these as subtraction. So when I pull out that first sign determining my greatest common factor, I would get subtraction in my binomials. So a little clarification from the previous video. If both signs are negative, definitely pull a negative. But also, if this square is negative, meaning my 2 side terms for my x form, I'm going to pull a negative as my common factor. Same with here. If this one was negative from my x form, I'm going to pull a negative as my greatest common factor. This way, I will never get the wrong sign.